Alrighty, this is going to be a short video. This is just going to be a little bit more no ability practice with Keynoor. The only time I'll use abilities is in free-for-alls, like this one. The purpose being that free-for-alls are a little less skill-based, and frankly I'll need any edge that I can get just to reduce the variability and random chance. Instead, I will be focusing on those no abilities and only the solos. So this is one of those maps where it's really ideal to be the first person to get to those inner towers, or to one of these inner structures. So we are going to focus on that, and I think I can actually already go for it. I see that this fellow already has. The thing that he is not going to do, I'm guessing, that I am going to do, is go for this tower. Alright. Now, I really need to see if I can get some unit count going. And alrighty. That's unfortunate. Bright side. Alright, so that means that I did lose it. I am able to use my ability to scout out whether or not I lost that tower. Alright, so attempts to gain that one have been fruitless so far. So let's even grab this tower over here. I'm pretty sure he's going to regret that choice. Let's turn this into something more useful. I'm going to make that into a production building, and let's get a forge going over here. This puts me in a better position than blue, because blue has a tower in a place where or a forge in a place where he doesn't really want it, because forges are pretty vulnerable. Alright, I think that went really well. You know, I don't mind this being a tower, actually. I don't think it's necessarily optimal. But I mean, maybe it is. I mean, I just feel like it gives so much defense in situations like this. It makes it really hard to attack me because you can't just use a single ability. Let's see if I can piggyback off their ability here. Hey, I can. So I like the situation. It's really hard for any of them to move around, which just gives me a second. This one, I think at this point becomes irrelevant, so let's turn that into a production structure as well. And we're going to turn one of these into another forge. So you can see how these two towers, especially using my W, just totally rips them apart. I mean, like, they're literally gonna get, like, you know, a handful of units through. Literally 4. We're gonna get 4. Boom, boom. So that's really effective right now. Okay, so what do we do next? I think maybe if we take down this blue tower, my sense is that probably so what I want to do is just make sure he uses his ability. I'm actually going to use this other tower this time instead of using the W. I think it'll be enough to rip him apart, and it uses less mana. So as we're seeing here, alright. So I now have this tower as well. I hate how long this lasts. I really do. And again, let's turn that into a production structure. And I think he's just dumping his abilities right now. I don't really know why they're holding on. But that is their prerogative. How's that feel, dude? Feeling good about these life decisions? Oh, we did have 4,500, so actually gained some elo on that, so that's kind of nice. Okay, now let's see if we can get a no abilities thing. I'd hate for this to end. Oh, nope, another free-for-all. You know, I always wondered why there were so many free-for-alls. I think it's because they're more inclusive of different elos, and so the matchmaking system can kind of like grab outliers and just take them into free-for-alls. That's my theory. So like, even though everyone hates them, I actually don't even know what company does Mushroom Wars. Oh, this was a huge mistake, wasn't it? Potentially. Okay. So the fact that I survived that means that he is, like, red is basically out of the game. Should be fine here. So this is a pretty nice start for us. We should be fine as long as we don't do something really stupid here. Let's see if we can grab these. We're playing against Rudo, so I actually have been playing pretty stupid. I have not been. So I'm just kind of abusing the fact that I have a lot of morale right now to make it really difficult for him to take buildings. And, let's see if I can just... Yeah, so just a little taking that advantage that I have and turning it into a series of swift victories, even if they could be pretty easily taken back, which I think in that case they could have been, potentially. A lot of times it just drives their human morale below a certain threshold and they just surrender. So it's not just about the snowballing, it's about the fact that they know that it's a snowbally game, and they know that if they, if they haven't, okay, this side I think there's enough units. That was so close, but it was not. I have to just empty these out and empty this out, and then that just is what it is. I think it's already going for this one, and I don't think I can contest it, but I'm going to try it anyway, because if you don't know, it's better to just try and find out if you were wrong, because then the next time you'll know that you can't do it. Or you'll find out that you can do it, and then boom, that's one of those things that can make you stand out, in the legions of players, is knowing that that vulnerability exists based on that number of units. So honing that intuition, right? Okay. I do want one more forge. And then I think we go for one of these middle structures. Once we have a couple more units. I'm a little nervous about doing it at this point. You know what I'm going to do? First... Just gonna, see if I can get an easy take here, so that he's busy thinking about, man, it sucks that I... Actually, I thought he was going to attack, but instead just kind of didn't. So I'll do this instead. He's feeling pretty happy because his timer started going first. And because he got this that building back. Okay, so I'm not feeling that happy either. So it makes sense that he's feeling happy. Okay, let's try something here. I feel like I can't select this right now. Oh, I see. I had 70 back on this. That was a huge mistake. So I'm back to even now, and the goal there was just to create enough chaos, or the tactic there was just to create enough chaos that it gave me an opportunity to make up for some of those mistakes that I made. What is he doing here? That's an interesting choice. I feel like that's going to take an awful lot of units to do, and it's pretty punishable. So I can send a lot of units right now, and I know that he can't really respond. Oh, that was a good ability use there. Not quite sorry. So I actually almost kept that one too. Okay, so he just... I'm never sure in situations like that, like, did he feel like he was losing? Because it was only about 30% chance sure that I would win that game. And, maybe he just disconnected. Or, I don't know, man. You can only spend so much time trying to figure people out. After that, it's just exhausting. So, in a way, it's dangerous to wait here, because what I really need is my first Q. That's like the... There we go. That's what allows me to kind of take, take buildings with impunity here, and it gives me an advantage. If I don't have my first Q, I'm just... Another hero. Oh! I used abilities in a 1v1! Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez. Oh well. Oh well. Okay, so over on the right side of the map here, we're 4 buildings versus 2, so let's see, that's going pretty well. And I think we're going to turn this one. Oh, good joke. Turn that into a forge. Restart that. That sucks though. That was careless of me, wasn't it? This is pretty bad, by the way. This is a terrible, terrible situation. I don't like it at all. This guy is just like chilling, right? With a lot of units, and it's gonna be really difficult for me to just bust through him. I'm gonna send a couple into here. The reason I'm doing that is just because it builds morale. I'm a little nervous about green using it, but you know, it just is what it is, I guess. So I need the units badly, so I'm just turning that into a production building. I'm not really that worried about orange, and I am really worried about green, so I'm not going to use my ultimate on orange. I'm going to use it on green, but I don't think it's going to work. Oh, it did. It did. Let's see. But even so, I think that was really useful, both in terms of just, both in terms of like not upgrading that structure, or like okay, good. Both in terms of, what's the word? Downgrading? Downgrading, yes. I forgot that word. Downgrading that structure, but also just in terms of making him feel like I'm a real threat, which, frankly, I wasn't. Always trying to land those with timing such that the reinforcements also get nuked. So that's why I'm waiting kind of until the last minute. Sometimes I am actually attacking for a little while. So those units are, in theory wasted. But if I can nuke his reinforcements too, that's a huge deal. That's a response that he can't make. Alright, so at this point we have roughly equal unit counts, but I have better morale and more forges, so we should be attacking, capitalizing on this advantage. I'm so worried about flame. Oh, motherfucker. And that's why. So what we're going to do is, in order to account for that, we're just going to stage further up. This is a good move on his part, I think. I think it would have required more commitment to be effective, but I do like the idea. Alright, just trying to get some downgrades here. I'm playing kind of scared, aren't I? But there's no reason to. Okay. Okay, I just want to get one no abilities game in this video. I actually have to leave, but I mean, like, just the principle of the thing, you know what I mean? Okay, there we go. No abilities. against Dora. Here's the thing. I don't actually remember what her abilities are, which sucks. And this is a really tough level with no abilities. Whatever. We are going for it. Oops, I accidentally did the that thing where I... It was nice of her to give me a little bit of morale there. So I think I have... I'm going to have more units. I'm going to have more units and more forges than her. That was an awesome start. So I feel happy about that. I can't use abilities, but I really want to. Okay, so next I'm going to want to get one of these 35 towers, and I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. I think man, I don't like either of my methods here. I think I'm going to have to do it like this. Okay. I mean, I don't really care. Yeah, I was pretty sure I could just kind of bowl through her attempt there, and that was correct. So now I'm going to try to get this tower too. Okay, getting both of those towers is really nice. Oof. Scraping it pretty close on unit count here, especially because I don't really have reinforcements. But I'm going to need to... I'm going to send some units over here just because I think I need them. Alright, I think they're... Okay, that was nice. That was nice, that was good. Good ability use. Problem is, she doesn't really have an ability to enforce it that effectively. So it's like, okay, now what? Okay. I like the thinking there, but I don't think that may have been just doomed to failure. Okay, so at this point, man, this is so hard without abilities. At this point, I think I want this to be a better tower, and then I think I want... Oh, you know what? Now that she did that, I kind of want to do this. Yep. So losing that tower was really bad for her. That was really bad. I think sometimes people sort of, I don't know, they underestimate the power of towers and what they represent. They represent a much greater commitment to achieve an objective if they either, even if the tower is that objective, or if the tower is, in the way of that objective. And so the reason that you get rid of a tower is because it's more valuable to have the unit count and be able to have like a flexible resource than to have that, that barrier. But yeah, I think people undervalue towers a lot. And I do too sometimes too. For example, this tower right here, like this tower is not in a great position. I feel like they can wrap around behind anyway. If it was somewhere else, it would be a different story. I'm talking instead of doing this, so instead of doing this, which I should have. I didn't. So I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball here. But it's not necessarily, won't necessarily be the end of the world. Alright, so the idea here was just to grab these. I knew that I couldn't keep them, but the thought was, what if I can grab them just long enough to either do a bunch of damage to this, or to take it? And it actually works surprisingly well. That was shocking. So without abilities, this gets kind of weird. I just need to like do things, and it doesn't get weird because like it's innately weird. It gets weird because I'm just not good at it. So what we're doing there is staging a real attack, but just trying to identify where they were sending reinforcements from, and seeing if potentially that opened up a weakness in their line, which it did, and we took. And now we have this this other structure on the other side of the map. And the way the math works out there is really compelling. So if you think about it, when you take a person's forge, it's a 160 unit swing, because it takes away 80 from them and it adds 80 to you. And man, that is huge. Okay, man, you sure are doing that. It's annoying, but I don't care that much. I think he's not understanding that structure doesn't really matter anymore. Unless you have a timer advantage, it doesn't matter if I have the other one except in terms of unit count. It's just like any other building. So I don't know that taking a low defense structure that's in the middle of the map is really in his best interest. Probably another objective would have been superior. Right now he has to win in 50 seconds, so he has to really think about what needs to happen in order for him to win. Okay, so this is better. So what he's thinking about now is stopping the timer, which is a much better idea. He undercommitted a little bit. Disappointingly easy, actually. I didn't use any abilities, did I? You know, it's so second nature sometimes, but I don't think I did. That was definitely not enough units, and it's not really what I meant to do either. So if you start with a level 1 building, it's always best to upgrade it before attacking. However, if you start with a level 2 building, it's usually best to take other buildings first. That's how the math works out, but it's just barely. It's by a very thin margin. So the goal here will be to take one of these towers. I prefer taking one of the side towers. It's the less valuable of the towers. The reason that I like taking them is that it's less likely to be contested by both sides. That's where the loss comes, is when the tower that you go for first is contested by both sides. That's just, like, that's pretty much the end of the game. And there's nothing you can do about it. So to reduce variability, we go for one that can only be contested by one side, and we do it at a time. When we know that they don't want to contest when they're moving units elsewhere. And then, just because of where green is right now, I'm actually just going to turn this into a production building. Because what I'd really like to do is grab this. Damn it, there's a Rudo. This is a free-for-all, so I guess I could use abilities, but... I shouldn't be upgrading structures here. I should be attacking green. Let's go like this. Let's see how I feel about this. Okay. You know, I actually didn't love that. I wish I had committed a little harder, or had just not done it. The sort of haphazard thing, I think, left me in a position where it was more likely to benefit blue than green, and not super happy about that. Right now, we don't have any advantage other than that I think my building, like my building choice is better. And I do have this tower here, so I think what I'm going to do is just make sure that I saw that coming, but I did not react quickly enough. I don't really have a problem with that though. That was a lot of morale. So that was a solid fight for us. Okay, so this is a land grab, and it's really important that we take advantage of this other person thinking that I'm not going to react to the land grab. So as you see, we would have just decimated his area because he overcommitted to the land grab. Very rarely a good idea. You do want to, like, when it comes to land grabs, like, you have to make sure that you're trading evenly. You can't just, like, sacrifice your position within a land grab. But you have to consider trying to grab a disproportionately high percentage of a land grab as a strategic decision in and of itself. Okay, so a lot of people will get this one wrong, and actually I think my opening was wrong. Most people on this map will typically open by killing their entire side here and just like preparing it, but there is no tower here. That means that you can very early go for these, these 5-unit structures. I thought we might do that. Watch this really carefully. I do have an advantage, but not an insurmountable one by any means. So I'm just going to really closely manage these unit counts, and it's more important that I got this, so I did pay a little bit more attention to it. But it's unfortunate that I missed that. Oh, this is against another Keynor. So because it's against a Keynor, a lot of times it's better to just like sort of sends in these onesie twosies, because otherwise he'll be able to use his Q. I don't think so. Oh shit, I used my abilities again and okay. No more abilities. No more abilities. Sorry guys. Okay, I feel like honestly I can just go for this. He's going for that, isn't he? There's no way he responds to this. There just is no way. Surely. right? Okay, jeez. Whew. Had me worried there for a second. Alright. So yeah, in those modes, just keeping an eye on the objectives is really important. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.